Hey, Ben Silverio here at the Trocadero Theater for Awesome Fest, and I'm here with Rewind This director, Josh Johnson. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Well, thanks for sitting down and talking about your movie with us for a little bit. So, you guys premiered at South by Southwest, and that would be like your audience right there. How did they receive it?
The response was overwhelmingly positive to the point that we were kind of suspicious about it, and we're like really excited to show it somewhere else because it seemed to go over so well that it was easy to suspect that it was just because there were people that knew us there, that it was kind of a hometown premiere. But we've since shown it in a few other places, and it seems to be going over just as well in other places. So, I mean, the South by Southwest experience was an incredible experience, and I hope it continues the way it has been, which is so far pretty good everywhere else we've shown it too.
Cool. So, what first inspired you to make a documentary about VHS and its popularity? Are you a collector yourself?
I am, but that actually wasn't a big factor in deciding to do it. What really was motivating me was that I was a child of the home video generation, and when I was a kid, I was able to go into a video store and access thousands of films, watch whatever I wanted kind of on my own schedule. And my parents were part of a generation that couldn't do that. You know, they could only go to see something when it was playing in a theater or catch it on a television broadcast. So they had no control over their own media consumption. And the fact that I did is a huge part of what shaped me as a person and certainly as a filmmaker. So it was something that I had always been inspired by and thought a lot about. The collecting part comes into it in that I was noticing that a lot of people were still collecting videotapes many years after VHS wasn't being manufactured because there were so many thousands of titles that were only available that way. They hadn't been re-released on DVD or now Blu-ray. They weren't streaming anywhere. So the only way you could get certain films was in this somewhat compromised form of videotapes. And that combination of, you know, the history of it and the current day relevance made me think that it was a good topic for a feature film.
All right. So, Josh, how did your process go in creating this film?
Well, we started off with talking to people that we knew that lived in our local film community in Austin, Texas, where we started filming it. And we went to them, and once we had gotten a few interviews kind of on the books, so to speak, that led to each person that we talked to recommending other people that we talked to, and it kind of began a network like that. And then as far as some of the more, you know, kind of celebrities that we have in the film, we just contacted them through agents or managers or, you know, friends of friends and things like that. And it was actually a lot easier than we thought it was going to be. Once we started reaching out to people, this was so much a part of their lives. You know, the period of time that we were documenting, it was an important piece of their personal history. So they were actually really excited to talk to us and more than anything just wanted to go on the record with their stories on the subject.
That's cool. So, at any point during the, pre-production process, were you ever thinking about shooting the documentary on video itself?
Yeah, I absolutely thought about it. The main reason that I didn't want to do that was that I didn't want it to seem like a gimmick film that, you know, it would only appeal to people that were already kind of, you know, had this love affair with the kind of home video aesthetic. And also, I knew we were going to use a lot of clips from various videotapes that were released at the time, and I thought it was important that there be a distinction in the visual style from the footage that we were shooting and what we were cutting away to. And if we shot it on videotape and used our cutaways from videotapes, it would kind of all blend together, and I wanted there to be more of a distinction between the footage.
So you got a ton of great interviews, as you mentioned, but was there anyone that you didn't get a chance to get that you would have liked to spotlight in your documentary?
Bob Saget. I really wanted to talk to Bob Saget about America's Funniest Home Videos because I thought that was a really significant impact, you know, of home video, that, you know, people were able to become famous by shooting things in their backyard. You know, that kind of marked a shift in both television and popular culture. But his stand-up touring schedule never overlapped with where we were shooting, so we weren't able to do it. But that would have been an amazing get.
One message that came out loud and clear during your documentary was that a whole lot of movies that made it to VHS didn't make it to DVD or beyond. So do you think that there will be like a new movement towards more movies coming to DVD or Blu-ray because of, the new popularity not really new popularity of VHS, but like your documentary maybe like spurring that sort of resurgence?
I would like to think that that would happen, but I think what is more likely to happen is people are going to start digitizing the copies they have and file sharing them using like torrent sites. I mean, that's already happening, but I think that's going to continue. I'm not sure any corporation is going to recognize that there's any major monetary value in this, so I can't imagine it's actually going to become a major industry of bringing these things out in newer formats. But even if that only does happen for 2 or 3 titles because there's an increased awareness, then, that is something that would make me really happy.
So, with the move towards more digital formats, do you think that the physical format will stay around much longer? Like, do you think in a few generations there will be people wanting to make a documentary and having nostalgia about VHS or Blu-ray?
I think it's entirely possible that that will happen. I think what's going to happen with physical media is it's going to become strictly for the collector's market. I think you see special edition limited VHS releases coming out now, and I think it'll be the same for Blu-ray in a matter of time. I think the only people that are going to be purchasing physical objects will be a collector's market that really values the possession. I think everything else is going to be digital delivery across the board.
So, are you excited to be a part of Awesome Fest here in Philadelphia with Rewind?
I'm really excited to be a part of Awesome Fest because it seems like the entire motivation behind the festival really lines up with a lot of what is going on within the documentary. You know, it's about nostalgia for the 80s and for a certain time in a lot of people's lives. And I think most people that have fond memories of the video store or have fond memories of, discovering some of these films at that time via VHS are exactly the audience for these other films that are showing at Awesome Fest. So I think it's actually a perfect fit in that, even though we're not a film from the 80s, we're dealing with, a love of cinema that emerged really in the 80s. So it feels like it's a perfect home for the film.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks a whole lot for taking some time out to talk to us. And for more on Awesome Fest, make sure to check out the rest of the PFM channel.